Hello, I'm Bernard Hickey from interest.co.nz and welcome to a special housing report brought to you in association with Bank of New Zealand. Today we're going to look at figures from Barfoot and Thompson on house sales and prices in Auckland. Barfoot and Thompson is obviously Auckland's largest real estate agency group, and Auckland is New Zealand's largest property market. Also, Barfoot and Thompson's figures are the first real figures to come out on actual sales in the month of March. And the numbers are quite stunning. Barfoot and Thompson says it sold 1,070 properties through March. This is the highest volume of sales in nearly 4 years. The average price was a stunner as well. That rose 11.4% to just over $581,000 on average. So what's actually happening here? Let's try and put this in context. When you have a look at this chart, you can see that sales for Barfoot and Thompson have been bumping around the 500 mark or so, 600 mark for 3 or 4 years. And then in March, it just took off. 1,070, we're back to boom time levels. What's going on here? Well, Auckland is different. Certainly, there's a lot of migration that comes to Auckland, both from within New Zealand, other places, coming up here for the big jobs, if you like, but also a lot of New Zealanders coming home from offshore. They tend to come to Auckland because they're looking for the big jobs too. And of course, a lot of migration from Asia and from Europe comes to Auckland first. There's also the problem with supply. A lot of Auckland's housing supply, particularly that built between the late 1990s and the mid-2000s, has been taken out of the market because it's leaky. And we've seen too that the tax cuts that were brought in October the 1st last year have benefited those on the highest incomes. And of course, those people with the highest incomes tend to live in Auckland. And what we're seeing too from these Barfoot and Thompson figures is that the houses at the top end of the market, the sort of $1 million plus houses, they're the ones that were selling like hotcakes through March. However, Peter Thompson from Barfoot and Thompson says that even once you take out some of the biggest houses, the ones over $2 million, the average was still up for prices to $560,000 from around $520,000 in February. Peter Thompson thinks it's not just another bubble. So what actually happened here? Well, migration is a factor, but the thing that's really changed here is interest rates. The official cash rate was cut on March the 10th, right in the middle of the month, and floating mortgage rates dropped to 5.75%, near their record lows. And of course, Auckland is the most pressured market with migration and with supply. So, Auckland does seem to be different. And most people are saying that activity in the rest of the country, particularly in Christchurch obviously, but in provincial areas, isn't nearly as hot as in Auckland. But obviously something happened last month, and it was quite stunning, according to Barfoot and Thompson. I'm Bernard Hickey. That was a special housing report brought to you in association with Bank of New Zealand.